I'm very happy to be back again. It's been a few days since I've been here, but I'm ecstatic, ecstatic to be back. All right, y'all. So let's pick it up where we left off. This is going to be a short video. Uh, we almost finished last time, but my battery ran out. So the video ended before I could finish. Okay, so I'm not going to do a review. I want to finish this chapter. Next chapter is going to be a lot of fun. So let's get through this. Let's start at the last chapter on page 127. Okay, and then we have only two paragraphs to go, and I'm not going to give that much commentary, if any at all. Page 127. Our textbook is The Devil's Pulpit. The author is Robert Taylor. All right, y'all. The author is Robert Taylor. Okay. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video, so y'all can get this, print it, so you have the physical copy. You can write your notes. It's very useful if you have it printed while I do these videos. All right. Me personally, I don't take notes during a lecture, and I don't suggest that you do. Okay, just listen, and when you watch the video, you can take notes. All right. When you watch it for the second time, take notes. All right. So let's begin. Page 127. To those who can guess the moral of the fable. The fable would be the gospel as a whole. It's a whole fable, a whole mythological story. It is a parable. Okay? But then individually, the 44 parables, I believe there are 44 parables. Okay? So the moral of the story is the point, the lesson to be learned from that story. And that lesson that is to be learned is determined by the secret society members who are in authoritative positions, decision-making decisions, who decide what they want their Negro, Black, Colored, Latino, and all of the other brands for people you can think of, okay? That they want the behavior and thought process, okay, that they want them to have. To control how they see the world and how they respond, to limit them, okay, to limit them. So again, to those who can guess the moral of the fable, the lesson to be learned. Now the lessons to be learned should be nature teaching us those lessons, right? The physical laws that govern the universe, weather and climate, etc., and then the laws governing consciousness, the laws governing consciousness and commerce, all right? And of course, all of that, you'll see those laws in contracts in every other area of life for men and women, even animals, okay? Insects, all the way down to the microscopic kingdoms, okay? There are laws that govern them. That's supposed to be the teacher. But the religious people, they usurped that. They took it over, remixed it. And now the morals are based upon religious doctrine, the Judeo-Christian doctrine, okay? So anyway, let's continue. To those who can guess the moral of the fable, the politic, okay, y'all? The politics, the Bible involves politics. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. But the issue, I can tell you, the issue is rulership. Who governs you? You or someone else? All right? Either you are a sovereign or you are a servant. And that is determined by your state of mind, which reveals itself through your mouth, through the words that you speak. Okay, y'all? Hence, anything you say can and will be used against you. Why? Because you're identifying yourself as Christian chattel or as a Moor who is, of course, the substance and subject matter of the law, the sovereign, the landlord, all right, the landlord, the rightful heir. Okay? Anyway, let's continue. Or political intention of the parable. So, how you doing? Hello. Or the political intention of the parable. So, the author, hi there. Hello. It's just two little children. I'm doing YouTube Live. Sir, I'm doing YouTube Live. Okay? Okay. So, I don't know how old they are, but they're with their parents. And they, the typical reaction when they see a foreigner who looks like me. But the author, this is 1831 when he gave this sermon. And even then, he is revealing to the people that the Gospels are political. They're dealing with power. They're dealing with power and inheritance, estates, trusts, state of mind, jurisdiction, law. Okay? That's what it's about. Let me show y'all. Or political intention of the parable. So these have political intention. And that political intention is to destroy or minimize your power and to maximize theirs. Y'all look at my fingers. This is page 127. All right? So I'm not making that up. I'm not making it up. All right? So this is not some religious thing. This is about power and sovereignty, estate. Okay? And the Gospels, again, according to the author, even 200 years ago, brings to our attention that these parables, that the Gospels are political and they have a political intention. And that is borne out or revealed to us through the moral of each fable and the moral of the gospel. And again, the moral is determined by those who are in power. Those secret society members who are in power, they decide what's morally right and morally wrong for Christians. And we see that happening right now with the LGBTQ, XYZ, whatever it is. Right, y'all? And all of the other things that most of us, alternative lifestyles and practices that most of us don't, we avoid, don't want it. Okay, so they're changing the values, changing the morality. And it's happening all over the world, too. Anyway, let's continue. So the political intention of the parable, which is the exact reverse of it in every respect. Now, they just gave you a master key to crack their code and to understand what they're happening. He just tells you, listen, the true moral of the story is the exact opposite of the moral that they give the religious people. That's the law of opposites. That's the Hermetic law of, I just forgot it. That's the Hermetic law of plurality. Okay, law of the opposites, right? Christ, the devil, hot and cold. Same thing, same nature. They differ only in degree. There's movement up and down due to the law of vibration, right? Everything in the universe is moving. The law of vibration. Okay? So here you see they use the Hermetic law, the natural law of polarity to abuse you. They tell you a religious meaning of the moral, but in the inner house, the meaning is the exact opposite. Y'all see that? Hot and cold, soft and hard. Okay? So that's a master key. That applies, from what I've seen, through everything that they do. Everything is opposites. Okay? For example, you're told to turn the other cheek, but they come at you with everything they got. And they unite against you and show absolutely no mercy whatsoever. You're told to pray, they're not praying. You're told to wait, they take action immediately. Right? You're told to wait on God, but they're planning and scheming. And when it's time to take action, they take action ruthlessly. Okay? Anyway, let's continue. Dealing with the moral of the fable is usually the exact reverse of it in every respect. So if you understand that, you are in a very good place. All right? The one is a generous effort to undeceive and disabuse a priest ridden, like a roach infested, rat ridden, mice ridden, or worse, other type of rodent, ridden all up and down in your attic, all throughout your house, your space. A priest ridden and gospel gammon people, a people who've been completely fooled and tricked by the gospels, by the stories, and the morals, of course, the parables rather, and the morals that the gospels push, which in many cases are out of harmony with natural law. And if you follow them, you will follow them until you fall in a hole or crash against a wall. Okay? They sound good, and I realized this a long time ago. The gospels sound good, but they're idealistic and they fall apart in practice. Okay, but a lot of people don't want to admit that. Okay? Anyway, let's continue. So there are a group or some people who want to teach you and show you what these gospels truly mean. That they are in fact made up stories based upon the celestial bodies, hence astral theology. Okay, and there never was a man named Jesus Christ who walked the earth and breathed a breath of air. Okay? They want to tell you this, and they want to show you what these doctrines mean astrologically, their origin. They want to show you the history and the science associated with it, using etymology and philology and linguistics as a primary tool. But then there's another group of people who's much bigger, who have really terrible intentions toward you. They push that gospel. And the motive behind their pushing it is to entrap and enslave you mentally, before it was physically, and to rob you physically. The motive is still to rob you. Okay, but they're not. There's no hot physical combat now because your mind has been stolen, and you're out of your mind right now. You're defenseless. Take it. Bye bye, girl. I think I hurt their feelings a little bit because I didn't talk to them while they wanted to play. Oh well. Kids are such beautiful people. Children rather. Anyway, let me hurry up so we can get through this, y'all. By some great moralist whose name could be ascertained would deserve to be enwreathed in the grateful remembrance of the whole human. So get in the habit of when you see human, you should think Han Uman, the half man, half chimpanzee. And Google search it if you don't know who Han Uman is. Google search it, all right? And then you make a decision whether or not you are a human. Just take the A-N. Take the H-A-N, strike out the A-N, you get human. H-A-N-U-M-A-N. Strike out the A-N, after the H, you get H-U-M-A-N. Human. You look that up in a good law dictionary, you're going to see that a human is a monster that, although born from a woman, cannot inherit land. All right, y'all? So you decide whether or not you are a human. Okay? A human is a kind of a man, a hybrid. But anyway, let's continue. So get in the habit of making that distinction, or at least be aware of it, okay? The other personality, the other player in this is some equally anonymous, priestly, villainous, let me repeat that, anonymous, priestly, villains, priestly plot to degrade, to debase, degrade, call you black, call you anything but who you are, which is immoral, call you whatever you, Moors are Moors, right? We don't define ourselves by race. Those are social constructs. Whatever your skin tone or complexion is, it's neither here nor there. What matters is whether you're sprung from the soil or not. Genesis chapter 2, whether you are the land made manifest, right? Or thought made manifest from the land. That's all that matters. Your complexion doesn't matter. By the way, for what it's worth, if you believe the DNA story, all of these skin tones, there's no such thing as in the beginning everybody was black and pitch black. No, there is variety. There's variety of complexion. Right? Just like there are varieties of the same type of flowers. Okay, it's just variety. All right? So don't get it twisted. Everybody wasn't all jet black. And then they started mixing with whatever, or no, there's genetic variation. There's genetic variation, produces a variety of different shades. All right. Anyway, years ago, I used to teach how to scientifically tell a hybrid. If y'all been following me for years, y'all know how to do that. Anyway. Let's continue. So there's a group of priestly villains who plot to degrade, okay, call you outside of your name. These are bywords. Get you involved and lower self activities, addictions and habits, degrade you through convincing you or persuading you rather to become a drug addict, to become abusive, and any of the lower self behaviors. To debase, okay, the disgusting, let's say, sexual practices that are out here, and to destroy physically and psychologically. Physically and psychologically. Okay, that means the mind. So that would involve your what? Your perceptions, your speech, right? When you see something, what do you perceive? What does your brain process, right? Are you seeing what's really there? Or is your brain processing and seeing something else? Are you visualizing something else? Okay, what you're hearing, is it really there? Or are you hearing something that's not there? Right? So has your senses been uncoupled from your ability to process and understand what's really there? See, has that been uncoupled? Broken? And I can assure you that it has been. Why? Because your language, connotative linguistics, your expectations, your paradigm, everything. All right? Anyway, let's continue. Okay? So to degrade, debase, and to destroy every spark of nobleness. What is the nobleness coming from? Nobleness is coming from, you can have a noble birth, right? A noble birth, your bloodline, and then the nobility, meaning the higher self, thinking and behavior that you demonstrate day in and day out. You're always in honor. Right? No matter what the situation, you're in honor and you stay in honor, no matter what it might cost you. You follow the Most High's commandments. All right? You live out the principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Okay? But they have been hell-bent on destroying that and preventing you from being able to do it. Okay, y'all? And every capability of a noble resentment, which princesses, priests, see, princesses, that's a political, right? They have political power, right? Priests and oppressors have to fear in men. Okay, y'all? Princes, priests, and oppressors. These are the people who lead all of the institutions in today's world. Okay, they are all one at enforcing unum sanctum, the doctrine of discovery, and manifest destiny against the indigenous, aboriginal, or just the Moors. Okay? That's what it's about. Estate theft. Okay, so let's continue, y'all. All right, and to make us everlasting petitioners, see, to make us everlasting petitioners means what? Well, go back to what the gospel says, that men should always pray and never stop praying. Make you an everlasting petitioner. For the rest of your life, you're praying for the deity to do something for you. You're praying and waiting. Praying and waiting. Okay? But the reason for you to pray, remember, that disempowers you. A lot of y'all will say, no, prayer empowers you. What prayer does, prayer can concentrate your thoughts and assist in the manifestation process. It can do that, but that can be on the negative or the positive side. See, what you fear might come in on you because you're focusing on it. No, what you should do, you acknowledge the problem and then find a solution and then focus your attention on the solution. If you're praying about the problem, you'll get more of that type of problem. And that probably explains why you got a lot of the same kind of problem, although you pray and you're very religious. Okay? So let's continue. So their goal is to make us everlasting petitioners to the deity. And y'all know when you pray to an external deity, you're breaking the Most High's instructions not to bring another power before my face, right? And patient submitters, okay, so you submit, you're pacified, you don't follow natural law and do whatever it takes to become harmonic with nature. You don't do it, right? You're a sheeple now. And patient submitters to all the wrongs and cruelties that princely power and priestly pride shall put on us. Now y'all know what happened. And was it 2020? Y'all see that? You submitted to allowing a stranger, not just a stranger, but strangers who have a known history of genociding you out through poisons, prison camps, executions in the street, in your home, but through the assistance of your gods, actors and actresses and athletes, rappers and all of that, hip hop, you know, all of that that influences you, and your church and your church encourage you to go out and take the BITCH. You submit it. Even though common sense tells you that something that you don't know anything about, you shouldn't put in you, let alone a known criminal, a known MUR, and you can finish the rest, a publicly known group who has a publicly known history of committing genocide in your house and on your street, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your city, in your state, right? That's no secret, but many of y'all still went out and did it. Why? Because you're listening to your oracles. You do what your gods tell you to do. If it was on TV, it must be true. If it was on the news, it must be true. You got scared and you submitted. And now you're paying for it. With autoimmune issues, right? Blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, all types of cardiovascular events. But that's not all. There's plenty more. And you submitted and you prayed and you submitted and you prayed and you submitted and you were scared to death and you prayed and you submitted. And you're going to do the same thing again. the next time it happens. Page 128. Unless of course, you let that religion go. All right? You let it go. If men ought always to pray, here's a pretty praying trade for a set of idle lumbering thieves. That's right, y'all. That's right. The priestly class, that's their business, praying. Especially if you're busy working. They're going to pray for you. Pastor going to pray for you. Okay? Not only is he going to pray for you, but he's going to pray all day for his whole congregation. And to do that, of course, he needs a tithe. He needs money from you, right? Or he needs fiat from you to do that. And you need to elevate him or her, okay? In order to save you, to pray on your behalf. Listen to what the author is saying. If men ought always to pray, here's a pretty praying trade. It's a business for a set of idle, lumbering thieves. A set of fat thieves, crooks. Now y'all know why people who, when they come out of jail, a lot of them become preachers. That's true, right? Okay? Who find praying easier than working. Absolutely. Okay? Praying is easier than working. And if you get a bunch of women in your congregation, well, a lot of times these preachers get access to the women in more ways than one. And the funny ones, they get access to, to their own sex, their own gender rather. Okay? Everybody know how that goes. And the millions who couldn't possibly continue their existence if they were always at it themselves must be pinched of their earnings to pay the monkish knaves, that's the priest, to pay a tithe, to pray for them. Y'all got that? So a lot of these preachers, according to the author, they don't have any other skill. So they choose to be a preacher. Okay? And then to get your ends, get your bones. Anyway, let's continue. We're almost done. And thus, a mystical importance is attached to a set of gourmands and big bellies who could make themselves of importance by no other means. In other words, you get the worst people becoming priests, becoming the religious leaders, the religious teachers. Okay? That's what he's telling you. You get the worst, scamming, greedy people. People who can't control their appetite. People who can't control cigarette smoking, drinking alcohol, or even drug addicts. Right? Thieves and liars. People who are way extreme on the narcissistic scale. And y'all know this is what we see. Last paragraph. And while the poor man is driven to turn his talent from one art to another and finds every inch of ground on which he might struggle for a living, taken from him by the encroachment of machinery. Y'all listen to this. The average people, the poor soul, the average man or woman, that poor soul, toiling just to try to make a living. But then they come up with machines to take away jobs that men and women used to do. All right? Listen to what he says here. This applies today. So all of his opportunities to make a living are being taken away from him. taken away from him by the encroachment of machinery. Today that would include computers and software. While every article of human, of human apparel is got up by machines. Every article would be the shoes, the stockings, the hats, the gloves, the pants, the coats, the jackets, the scarves, everything made by machines now, right, y'all? With computers now. All by machinery. Printing, book printing. Y'all, you know what? Y'all would be shocked if you knew how much it costs to print books now. See, people used to have a good lie. The good lie was this: well, labor. We got to pay labor costs, right? So the prices are high because labor costs are high. Well, guess what happens? Now there's no labor costs. Everything is machines and digitized. But the prices are still sky high. You see, it was never about labor costs. It's about profit margin. Okay, profit margin. In other words, being as greedy and as selfish and self-centered as you possibly can. Right? To pay as little in labor cost as you possibly can and try to look like an angel, an upright, righteous man or woman in the process. Okay? So even with these machines, all the technology, the prices are still sky high. Okay? And of course, that's not to forget the central banks and the manipulation of interest rates, the cost to borrow money. All right? The fiat system. Okay, and y'all know you can they can manipulate this stuff not just on paper, but they can manipulate it just like a Monopoly game. Okay? Just like a Monopoly game. And then it will happen. You'll see things happening in real life. Why? Because they're just manipulating the system. That's why they put it there. Right? So they can pull the levers and make the system do what it wants to do, or whatever it is they want it to do. Okay? The financial markets are not some type of system where things happen and it's just chaos. You don't know what's going on. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's the Wizard of Oz on steroids, which is the Federal Reserve. Okay? Dictating interest rates, dictating the price of gold in all aspects, dictating currency exchanges. It's just that small hybrid behind a curtain pulling levers. And they mystify it. Right? They mystify it. Anyway, let's continue. So, printing, inking, and almost thinking by machinery, right? And that's true today, right? That was 1831. 200 years later, there's computers. Now the big talk is AI, right? So that means they don't need you. They don't need you to be alive. Because if you're alive, well, guess what y'all might do? Guess what they're afraid of if you're alive? Do you really think there's not enough resources on the earth for everybody? That is absolutely ridiculous. Do you think there's not enough space on the planet, enough land for everyone? That's absolutely ridiculous. No, they're afraid. They're afraid that if you don't have the necessities of life, you're going to revolt, rebel, threaten, do anything that's going to threaten their power. position or their lives. And so they would rather put you on slow boil, genocide you out without you realizing that you're being genocided out. Here, take this. Right? There's a scamdemic. Take this. Okay? And then you believe it. You don't know what's going to happen to you in 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years as a result of what you done did. Okay? And those of you who helped people to make that decision or pressured people to make a decision to put these things inside of themselves. Okay? Let's continue. But notice what occupation has not been affected, y'all. Name one occupation that has not been affected by machines and computers. Listen to what the author says. Here's what the author says. While every article of human apparel, we could say every aspect of human, of life, of man's life, except for one occupation, while every article of Han Uman apparel is made by machinery, shoes, stocks, hats, and gloves, all by machinery, printing, inking, and almost thinking by machinery. Yet no machinery has been introduced into our country to take the priest's job out of their hands. Y'all ever thought about that? There's no machine, no computer, no nothing to replace priests and rabbis, pastors, ministers, elders. There's no machine. Not even an attempt that I know of has ever been made to replace the preachers, the clergy. Don't y'all think that's strange, y'all? Though the use of machinery in this way would save the nation the clear sum of 9,920,000 a year and do the work much more neatly. All right. So in other words, these preachers, they collect money, they don't pay any tax, and they're getting away with murder. But don't y'all think that it's very suspicious that all occupations have been affected negatively? Everybody losing their jobs to computers since the 90s, right? Since the 90s. But yet, the priests, the clergy, they haven't been affected. That ought to tell you something. Anyway, thanks y'all for tuning in. I'm going to wrap it up right now. Special thanks to everyone who has supported my project to write the Book of the Law in modern English and Ancient Ibaryath to restore the natural law and constitutional principles. Take a look in the description area of the video. You'll see there a lot of the information that I'm going to restore. It's already there. It's just been hidden from you. Okay, it's been hidden from you. So I'll put it back in there in plain English, show you the etymological meanings of the words, so on and so forth. If you want to get an idea of how the book will be outlined, take a look at the books I've already written. My the purple books that I have, Deuteronomy chapter 28, I can read. All right, take a look at that book, Phoenician Hebrew 101, etc. Okay, subscribe to the special thanks to those of you who have subscribed to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath class. All right, and those of you who are buying my books, it means a lot to me. Not just that you bought it. That's not the thing. The thing is to feel appreciated, right? Like someone appreciates you enough to buy your book, subscribe to your class, or to support your projects. So I'm very honored and it makes me feel good about what I do. And plus, it makes it easier for me to keep doing this. So Islam to all the Moors and Shalom. Thanks, everyone. See y'all next time.